This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
It's Truthful Tuesday. No sugarcoating, no polite lies, just the kind of honesty that makes people nod slowly and rethink their life decisions. Let's talk about it.
A boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it.
Well, hello, Hive. Grab your sweet tea, grab your seats, and if you're new here, let me just tell you right now, we do not do passive-aggressive whisper fights in this house. We do loud, honest, grown-up conversations with a little Texas heat. On the side, of course, this is AskABee, where we take your AITA chaos. Am I the a-hole? For those who don't know, chaos, your family drama, your why is this man acting like this moments, and we break them down without fluff, without fake niceness, and you know what, without pretending grown adults don't know better. Around here, we believe in fairness, accountability, and a healthy dose of FAFO. Fork around and find out when somebody decides to test the limits of common sense. Now, today we've got gratitude battles, core scoreboards, okay, sibling turf wars over grandma's paintings, and a brotherly meltdown that turned into a full-blown family circus. And let me tell you something, okay, before we start. Just because something is free does not mean you owe silence. And just because somebody did one dish does not mean they deserve a parade. We're going to talk about mental load and speaking issues. Just kidding. Entitlement, fairness, pride, and that fine line between being grateful and being taken advantage of. If you've ever swallowed your frustration to keep the peace, if you've ever been told you're ungrateful for wanting basic respect, or if you've ever watched somebody claim 3 paintings like they were, I don't know, staking land in 1850, baby, you are in the right place. So settle in, open your mind, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now we're going to bring up our first after I say hello to Muhammad. Happy to have you, my friend. Thank you for being here. All right, so we're going to start with our first story. You know how I do. Only 2 people are watching. Well, my counter says 16 because I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Iron Sharpening Iron Network, who also has 2 feeds going out. So that's okay. You see 2, I see many. Anyway, here we go. Let's get these notes together. Let's get this stuff worked out. Let's get these panels rolling and find out what's going on in the world today outside of the obvious, right? All right, mundane issues. That's what we're getting into. Ha ha ha. So our first story starts this way. Am I the a-hole for not saying thank you? It is Truthful Tuesday, forgive me. I got, yay, 9 people. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Y'all keep an eye on that stuff for me, would you? Heidi, is that your name? That's a pretty name. I love that name. Thank you for being here. All right. So I will remind you, and let me push this out here real quick. I will remind you that I changed names for general purposes, And don't forget, we're not here to be ugly about this stuff. We're just, clocking attitudes. All right, I shall start to read using my alternate because I don't want this traced back to me and my spouse gets my email notifications for my main on his phone. Okay. Basically, my husband, 30 male, thinks I, female, 28, am a jerk for not saying thank you about baby related tasks. We have a 7-month-old and we both work full time. A few days during the week remotely, and twice a week the LO goes to daycare. Okay, little one. I'm up every day at 6:15 a.m. to pump. Then I get the baby up and ready if he hasn't woken up already. Make sure he's changed, has a bottle, has breakfast, is dressed, and is happy while husband is still asleep or just getting on his work computer. I telework with the little one on Mondays and Wednesdays. Um, DH is there both days. Okay. But I don't really get anything done, which is really frustrating because I'm still training in my job and I get anxious trying to balance little one and work. Tuesdays, I'm out the door bringing the little one to daycare by 7:30 while husband is usually still in the shower. He usually asks me to let out the dogs because he's running late. I pump during the day to feed the little one, which also takes time out of my day. I make dinner every day. I almost always feed the baby dinner too. We play on the floor while husband is on the phone on the couch, which is a bottle for me. Okay, well, that's nice. I mean, he could do more, obviously. I think that's what we're getting at here. So, the next part, let's see. Then I put the little one to bed and we watch TV for a while. Gosh, honey, I wish I had that. I unload and reload the dishwasher and try to start a load of bottles in the sterilizer. If little one gets up in the middle of the night, he'll warm a bottle and I'll change and feed the little one and get him back to bed. I miss sleeping a bit longer on Saturdays. It'd be nice if I could go back to sleep after pumping in the AM on Saturdays, but husband is usually still asleep. All of this is to outline my mental load. But every time my husband does something like unloads the dishwasher, puts dishes in the dishwasher, or does the bottles, etc., he makes a giant stink. Did you see I did the dishes? Did you see I did the bottles? Did you see I took out the trash? Are you going to say thank you? Like, yes, of course I noticed, but these are things I do all the time and they are expected of you too. I don't care if I get a thank you. But do you? Like the other day, I cleaned your work desk because it was horribly dusty. Take your dirty dishes every day and tidy the baby's room, but I didn't get a thank you. I also don't make a stink about not getting a thank you. Why is it necessary for me to thank you when I have a million other things on my mind? So I say thanks for doing that, but then he gets grumpy that my tone is hateful. Oh my. I just don't have the capacity to be all gushy and grateful that he did things that are expected. AITA for not thanking him. I just think it's crazy to constantly say thank you for tasks like this. Okay, baby girl, listen. Let me tell you something real clear in my best Texas voice here, okay? Look, you are not his shift supervisor handing out gold stars for basic adulthood. You are running a 24/7 milk factory, daycare shuttle service, dog wrangler, dinner chef, you know what? Night nurse, bath coordinator. And I'm just going to warn y'all, my dog may bark. And if he does, I might get a little angry. Just kidding. Get up here and be quiet, dog. Come on, Otto. Come on. Y'all, I have to deal with this dog. Sorry. Anyway, dishwasher, logistics manager, while this man is popping up like, did you see I took out the trash? Sir, congratulations on participating in your own household. Look, the problem is not the word thank you, it's the scoreboard, right? You're carrying the mental load, is what you're doing. The planning, the remembering, the anticipating, while he is doing isolated tasks and demanding applause like he just built the house from scratch. Here's the thing: gratitude is healthy, but gratitude under duress is resentment with mascara on. If he only feels valued when you gush, you but you never feel valued for the 97 invisible things that you do daily, that's imbalance. Front and center. That's not partnership. That's plain and simple performance. You're exhausted, you're overstimulated, you're pumping at dawn like a Dairy Queen, okay, with Wi-Fi. And he wants tone analysis. No, ma'am. Oh my goodness. No. The real conversation isn't why won't you say thank you? It's why does it feel like you're doing more and getting less? Less acknowledgement, uh, less sleep. You're not wrong for feeling maxed out, but I will say this in true B fashion. If you want peace, don't let it become a silent war. Sit him down when you're not tired and say, I appreciate what you do, but I need you to see the full load I'm carrying, because it works both ways. If he keeps treating basic parenting like a favor, he's going to find out what resentment tastes like, right? FAFO. And I think they'll probably agree. Not the a-hole. Thank you for not even doing everything he should be as a dad and partner. It is time to have a come to Hera moment with your husband. I like that. Okay, because he is not pulling his weight. Agreed. Have him read his web comic about the mental load. Then have a conversation about what it means to be a partner. How you shouldn't have to manage him. Agreed. How you definitely should not have to thank him. Every time he does a basic task of running a household or parenting, does he thank you? I didn't think so. If things don't change, ask him to join you for couples counseling. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think you definitely could use some counseling there, or he can. It sounds like you got it down and way too far ahead, okay? Second commenter says, not the asshole. Do the same to him every single time and remind him to tell you thank you as well for doing 90% of the task every day. Amen to that. I mean, don't be vengeful. Just give it back. That's what he'd do to you if the shoe was on the other foot, right? Or maybe just get some counseling and both of y'all stop that mess. All right, third commenter. Haha, I like this. I let the dogs out for you. Aren't you going to tell me thank you? I cooked your dinner for you. Aren't you going to tell me thank you? I cleaned and washed your dishes for you. Aren't you going to tell me thank you? I fed your son for you. Aren't you going to tell me thank you? Okay, I think we get the point. He should get the point pretty quickly. I did. And then they really need to talk about a fair division of labor. Original poster is going to get burnt out. I agree with that wholeheartedly as well. Look, all three of y'all are basically saying the same thing with different spice levels, and I'm not mad at it. Nope. Yes, he does not get a gold star for basic dad duties, and yes, sometimes mirroring that for you energy will make a point real quick. But listen, This ain't about winning petty Olympics. It's about preventing burnout. If she's carrying 90% of the mental load and he's asking, for applause every time he rinses a bottle, that's imbalance. Appreciation should flow both ways, not just when he announces his chores like breaking news. So laugh a little. Maybe mirror him once for demonstration, okay? Or twice, 3, 4 times, whatever it takes, I guess. Personally, I'd do it until it actually took. And I can guarantee you it will take more than once in my house. Anyway, then sit that man down and divide the labor like grown adults before resentment packs a suitcase and moves in. Child, come on. You know that's what's going to happen if you're not careful. All right, I got another story. Let's see here. Loading it up. Forgive me. All righty, here we go. Yeah, it was kind of short, but so's this one. You'll love it anyway. I did. All right. Am I the a-hole? Don't do chores or don't get thanked. I'll keep it short. Lately, my partner hasn't been acknowledging the extensive amount of chores I do. We live together, both work full time. I do stuff like laundry, lawn work, dishes, sweep, get groceries, pack his lunch, but I expect a thank you. Just some sort of acknowledgement. Nothing crazy. Okay, and it's still tickling my nose. So, anyway, yesterday he told me it would be better for me not to do the chores if I'm going to expect some sort of praise or acknowledgement on his behalf. Am I the a-hole for wanting to be thanked or acknowledged? Anybody got an answer for that one? All right, now hold on. Because this one flips the script just a little bit. Yep, I kind of said flip the script and not that flip the script. You are not wrong for wanting acknowledgement. A simple thank you is basic human decency, not a parade. The issue here is expectation versus leverage. If you're doing chores as part of shared adult responsibility, appreciation should be mutual and natural. But if it starts to feel like you're keeping score and waiting for applause, that's where tension creeps in. And his response, then don't do them. So that is not conflict resolution. That is emotional dodgeball. Look, the healthy lane, okay, is this. Gratitude should go both ways without being weaponized. If you're doing a lot, it deserves recognition automatically, right? But if you're doing it so you can cash in on praise, that's going to backfire. Partnership isn't about chore trophies. It's about respect. Look, if he can't say thank you, that's a conversation, okay? If you can't do things without feeling resentful when it's quiet, that's also a conversation, isn't it? Sorry, I got flyaway hair here. That's why I keep doing this. Either way, somebody needs to grow up a little bit. Both, not just somebody, both. Okay? Look, let's hear these comments because, yeah. First commenter, obviously not the a-hole. I just wanted to ask, why are you doing more than your fair share of chores? That's a good question. And the OP responded, I work from home and can typically get more done here and there throughout the day, thus freeing up our evenings. I like the second commenter here who says, how convenient for him. Exactly. That's exactly what that is. That is exactly what that is. Okay, third commenter. Here's what you should do. Stop doing chores that directly benefit him. There's a concept. Do your laundry, not his. Cook your own meals. Stop packing his lunch. Gotta go grocery shopping. Buy just for yourself. Take care of yourself and leave him to do the same. Not a bad idea. Not the a-hole, the fourth commenter says, this is extremely basic courtesy that children learn. Amen to that. It would be one thing if he simply forgot, but his response makes it seem like he's deliberately not thanking you. I gotta agree with that too. Yeah. Time to not do any chores, I guess, and see if he prefers things that way. Good idea. I mean, yeah. Look, all four of y'all are circling the same campfire here. First off, yes, she's not wrong for wanting a basic thank you. But let's not pretend doing more because you work from home doesn't quietly benefit him more than you. How convenient for him is not wrong. Okay, now the scorched earth plan of only doing your own laundry and cooking solo, right? Look, that'll prove a point real quick, but that's escalation, not solution. The last commenter kind of nailed it, I think. This is a basic courtesy we teach toddlers. If he's deliberately withholding acknowledgement, that's not forgetful, that's petty. But before we turn this into chore Cold War 2026, the grown-up move, okay, is a conversation about balance and mutual appreciation, not silent punishment, right? Right? Come on. You know, people would do a lot better if they would just share responsibilities. You know, you don't get into a wedding, a marriage all by yourself, right? It's two people. My hair is nuts and my Beyonce is blowing, so it's just driving me crazy. Sorry. Here's the thing. Two people make those decisions from the very get-go. It's not one person that decides, oh, you're marrying me and that's all there is to it. That's not how it goes. You know what you're getting into before you say I do. And if you don't, then you don't say I do, right? Right? People need to start having adult conversations when they're making adult decisions. And personally, I think you both need to just sit down, put the pettiness aside, because you both got a little bit of it, you know? You shouldn't have to expect him to say thank you. That's the thing. He should say it graciously, right? What you should do is I agree, don't do the things that require a thank you if you expect that from him, because you already know you're not going to get it. Plain and simple. He's already even told you that. So why would you even try, right? So let it go. Let it go. It's not a conversation to have. Then let him go. Because y'all aren't going to make it if you can't have one conversation about gratitude, right? All right, y'all. It's break time because this dog is about to tick me off. So I shall be right back. Y'all enjoy the song.
She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson. Every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network off a promise and a try. Every sunrise, every moment, she's stacking legacy. channel. This is BBTV. A boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. Got thunder in the hustle, got a voice that cuts clean. Every mic she touches turns the power unseen. So let further spin the numbers, let the views rise slow or fast. Boss Beat doesn't measure wins by echoes of the past. This moment is a pivot, this season's history. Bow down to the founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's got fire in the head, it's got truth in the frame. Got a heart that won't retire and a gift you can't name. Every loop, every letter, every dream she sets free. It's a love note to the world sign. Boss Beat. And the world keeps watching as the numbers climb, but she's counting all the moments, not the dollar signs. From the late night grind to the daylight scene, she's building something bigger than the algorithm's dream. Boss be rising, BBTV shining. Her story's rewriting, a legacy in real time. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. BBTV, where the stories breathe. BBTV, where the dreamers believe. Boss be rising, watch her take her place. This is BBTV, this is her grace.
Without a mic. There we go. Got that mic back. All right, now it's time for another story. What you think? Let's see here. Story number 3. If I can get back to my stuff. All right. And sliding. Okay, guys. Let's see. Am I the a-hole for telling my son that he should be grateful for what his brother gives him? I have 2 sons, and since my wife passed away, I live with my oldest, Brian. It was his idea. I am getting old, and they offered I could move in with them since I used most of my money when my wife got sick. So now they are helping me out. Recently, my youngest, Jake, lost his job. He was already financially struggling and had no savings, and his wife, or savings, sorry, and his wife is disabled and can't work. Therefore, eventually they lost their house as well, and he failed to find a new job. He asked for my help, but can I help him? I have no house, no job, no savings. I'm pretty much in the exact situation that he is, except I don't have a wife and a child to support. He was crying and begging me to ask Brian to help him. Brian is rich, but they always hated each other, and he knew Brian wouldn't want to help him. I asked Brian, and eventually he agreed to help them. He said they can move into his house, but Jake has to clean his house in return for them staying, and they shouldn't expect any more help from him, and they should try to be out of his sight as much as possible and move out as soon as they can. Wow. Okay. So Jake and his family moved in, and that was when the problems began. You didn't expect problems then? Ew, you thought that was going to really work? Alrighty then. Good for you. So, for example, Jake is upset because Brian's daughter snapped at him and told him that he didn't clean the bathroom well. Wow. And Brian took her aside and told her to told him to do his job well or move out. Goodness. Jake thinks this is not okay for Brian to let his daughter treat her uncle like that. He slapped Brian's daughter once when she was, berating him, and Brian almost kicked them out for that. I mean, I would have. So, and then there was the problem with the bedrooms. Brian has 7 bedrooms in his house, 3 of them occupied by him, his daughter, and me. Yet he chose to only give one of the rooms to Jake and his family. Jake believes that Brian only did that to hurt him. Yeah. And has no actual reasoning for that. Then there was last night's problem. Brian's daughter won a prize, so he threw a party. He ordered steaks for everyone. Jake and his family were asked to remain in their room and not be a part of the party, and needless to say, Jake was not happy. Brian ordered a pizza for Jake and his family and asked his daughter to give it to them. She came back after a few minutes with the pizza in her hand and told me that they refused to take it. I went to talk to them. I told him that he is being stupid and irrational. I know he has to skip dinner often because he can't afford it, so he should be grateful that his brother is feeding them. He started yelling at me and told me I'm a moron if I can't see that Brian is doing this just to hurt him. I told him that he is an ungrateful brat and he should be thanking Brian, and he called me an asshole and asked me to leave their room. Oh, baby. This right here is messy with a capital M, right? First, you're not wrong for telling your son to be grateful for a roof over his head and food on his plate when you're broke, okay, homeless, and somebody opens their door. That is not the time to get prideful about steak versus pizza. But let's not pretend this situation is healthy either, okay? Brian didn't offer help with love. He offered it with conditions and control. Clean the house, stay out of sight, move out fast. That's not generosity. That's tolerated charity. And Jake slapping his niece? Absolutely freaking not, okay? The second he put his hands on that child, he lost moral high ground. Dead ass. Sorry. That pisses me off. I don't care how embarrassed he felt. You don't hit somebody's daughter in their own house. You know what? In my house, fork around and find out. Touch my child, touch my grandchild, touch my husband, touch me. And I'm going to tear you up. I don't care. Don't touch a child, especially around me. I don't care whose they belong to. Not even yours. You don't hit children. Why? You want to teach them how to hit back, because that's all it is. You're just teaching them how to, you know, be defensive with their fists. Why would you do that? Now, about the bedrooms in the party, does Brian have the right to decide how his house runs? Yes. Is it cold to isolate your brother during a celebration? Also, yes. Two things can be true. Okay. Jake is wounded and humiliated, and Brian is resentful and keeping score. But pardon me, when you're asking for help, you do not get to dictate the terms unless you're paying rent. Gratitude doesn't mean swallowing abuse, though. It does mean recognizing reality. Right now, Jake is confusing pride with principle. You calling him ungrateful might have been harsh, but he is living off a man he openly dislikes while slapping that man's child. That's not righteous. That's reckless. Okay? This whole house needs boundaries and therapy, please. But if I'm answering your question straight, no. No, you're not wrong for telling him to be grateful. You're wrong if you pretend this is sustainable without somebody's ego exploding. Seriously. Comments. All right. Hi, Anna. How are you, honey? Maybe I'm not your aunt. I'm your cousin, silly goose. Okay, this whole thing is a mess and guaranteed to end badly. I don't know what other options Jake has, but he should go for them as soon as possible, as Brian and Jake living together. Pardon me, this dog is scratching and shaking everything around. Stop, dog. Stop, Otto. Stop. Ugh, dogs, man. All right. As Brian and Jake living together is clearly toxic and only going to get worse. Amen to that. That's for sure. That is for sure. Second commenter, anyone who lays a hand on my daughter better pray for their life. Full stop. This living arrangement is terrible and needs to change yesterday. Everyone sucks here. That's what ESH is. Third commenter, this is such a messy situation, but first, what is the history between Jake and Brian? Why is their relationship so strained? That's a good question. So I feel like this is so important to know because of the way Brian is treating Jake and his family and the way Jake is treating Brian's family, with the whole assaulting the child thing, right? There is so much that has gone on. It sounds like a lot too much, if you ask me, because, wow, why would you hit a child, especially not your own? I mean, that just gets to me. Look, all three of these comments are saying the quiet part out loud, right? The situation is a ticking time bomb. I'm okay. I'm exhausted, not getting enough sleep because we have a sick dog and my back is constantly hurting. So I can't wait to talk to my doctor when I go see her. Hopefully she can help me. I miss you and love you. I miss you and love you too, sweet girl. You let me know how it's going, okay? I've been looking at pictures and stuff. I'm sorry I don't have time to do much of anything anymore, but I've been watching and I see you, sweet girl, and I see what you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. And I love you and I miss you too, sweetie. We'll see you soon. I promise. Okay, so yeah, this situation is a ticking time bomb, right? It's toxic. Yes, it's gonna end badly. And yes, the moment Jake puts hands on Brian's daughter, everything else became secondary, if you ask me. Thank you, baby girl. I love you, bitch. Bunches and bunches. So you do not assault a child in someone else's home and expect grace. And while the backstory between the brothers probably runs deep and ugly, here's the bottom line: B stop. Okay. History explains behavior, it does not excuse it. Brian is controlling, Jake is prideful and reactive, and the dad is stuck in the middle trying to keep peace where peace does not live. Everybody here sucks is in different ways, but the priority not is now is safety and separation, not steak and pizza or even pride, right? Pride is definitely one of those things that hurts with men. You know, you got to let go of some of that, guys, especially when it comes to your brothers. Because think about it: when dad's gone, who do you have? Your brother. I have siblings that I'm not terribly close with, but I know that when my dad is gone, I will be able to see him again through them. That's a big deal. And we all have a good relationship. We're not close per se, but I know that if I called and said, "Hey, can I come see you?" they would name a day. So it may not be super close, but we're still brothers and sisters, and it matters. It makes a big difference. I got cousins and all kinds of family members that I'm not extremely close as for seeing them all the time. But like my cousin there, all I have to do is say, "Hey, baby girl, I love you." And she knows I mean that because we're that kind of close. And it's the way it should be. She knows I got her and in my heart, and that's the best part. So, okay, let's go on to this last little story here. Let me get my panel up again. Okay. Am I the a-hole for not being grateful? Hi, all. My gran recently moved and has less space in her new place. So she has a few of her old paintings, which she asked us grandkids, 3 of us, to see if we wanted anything. I went over first and basically told her I love absolutely everything. So maybe it's best if we all get together and this at the same time so everyone can have equal say over which they want. Last night we went over again, and my older brother and his wife, who we generally have a great relationship with, had already selected their 3 favorites, which are the 3 obvious best paintings, and basically told us, "We're taking these. You can choose between the rest." I was confused, as in my mind it would be fair that they chose one. Then they can go first, as my brother is older than I am. I'm used to that. And then I get the chance to choose one, and then our younger sibling. And then we keep going that way. But no, they immediately choose all 3 they wanted and are dead set on taking them. I didn't even really say anything. I was so mad, I just left the room. But my mom realized I was upset and gave me a whole speech about how I shouldn't fight over something we're getting for free, that I'm being ungrateful, and why can't I just keep the peace, etc. In my mind, keeping the peace would be so easy. It would be so easy if everyone was just fair about this. Please, guys, I'm not sure if I'm looking for validation posting here or maybe just a different perspective. So, am I the asshole? Answer here. Okay. First of all, wanting fairness, it doesn't make you ungrateful. Okay. It makes you logical. This is not about free stuff. It's about how it was handled. If grandma invited all 3 grandkids to choose, then the grown-up, emotionally intelligent move would have been taking turns, not walking in like an estate sale at 6 a.m. okay, and claiming the best three like it's a land grab. That's not keeping the peace. That's taking advantage of silence. Okay, your mom saying you should just swallow it because it's free. No, ma'am. Gratitude and fairness can exist at the same time. You can be thankful for the opportunity and still expect equal consideration. Okay? The real issue isn't the paintings, it's the tone of we've decided. Look, that's what stings the most. You didn't throw a fit, you removed yourself. That's not ungrateful. That's self control, if you ask me. I mean, I probably would have smacked somebody in the face, but here's the be truth. If you want something different next time, speak up in the moment. Silence always benefits the boldest person in the room. Okay? Comments, comments, comments. More hair comments. Okay. First commenter, not the asshole. Okay, you could have easily taken those same three paintings before your siblings could even take a look at them. But as a fair minded person, you suggested letting everyone take a look at once. Your brother apparently doesn't appreciate the fact that he only got to pick any of those paintings because you had been fair minded enough to include him. Given that he's willing to steamroll you and your siblings over it. Well, there you go. I wouldn't hold my peace if I were you. I would tell your brother that he doesn't get to call dibs on all three. That's not how was supposed to go, and it's selfish of him to do it that way. And remind him that he only got the chance to pick any because you decided fairness was the right thing to do. And don't let him forget it. And have the grandmother back you up on that stuff. Where is she in all this? That's the one thing I'm worried about here. How come grandma hadn't stepped up and said, hey, look, she said she wanted to have it fair for all of us. So, no, you don't get to take all three. Pick one. Come on, Granny. Get in there. Second commenter, not the asshole. If it should have went down as you said, one pick at a time, etc., and so on. Your bro and his missus are out of line here. Agree. Third commenter, not the asshole. They were being selfish and grabby. Yes, they were. Like absolutely BS behavior on their part. Fourth commenter. Yes, I got another one. Yeah, I think I changed that one. Didn't I? I sure did. Maybe. Yep, there it is. So, I actually had something similar happen when my grandparents moved into assisted living from their condo. Only I heard it a second hand because it was made very, very clear that only the boys were supposed to go. My dad is the youngest son of four boys. LOL. The number of times I've heard the phrase the boys referencing my dad and his brothers is honestly hilarious. Let us in on it. Anyway, long story short, too late. My mom and dad are no longer on speaking terms with my dad's eldest brother or his wife because of that. And a few other instances related to helping his parents move and what happened that day. So, no, I would say not the asshole, and yeah, it's just free stuff, but it's also memories. True. And things to remember your grandma by and the times you spent in her house. Everyone here is unreasonable except for you, to be honest. I don't blame you for being frustrated. I don't either, honey. I sure don't either. All four of these comments are saying the same thing with different volume levels. Your brother and his wife pulled a grab and go like it was Black Friday and you were supposed to smile about it. Yeah, okay. You were the one who suggested fairness. And yes, that fairness is the only reason everybody even had a shot. But here's the truth. Okay, marching back in there, gun blazing, about you only got to pick because of me might feel satisfying, but it turns paintings into a scoreboard. Yeah, They were selfish and grabby, absolutely. But this isn't about free stuff. It's about memory and respect. If you want to protect relationships long term, address the behavior calmly, not like an invoice. Otherwise, this turns into one of those we don't speak any more of grandma's things stories really quick. And we don't want to do that, right? I mean, grandma's still here. We need to be there and be happy and not be fighting while she's still got time left. I mean, I'm grandma, I'm 54 years old. I don't know how much time I have left. My mother was gone at 64. Her mother lasted till 80, 81. You know, we never know. So, y'all get your heads out your asses, would you? All right, Hive. Here's what we learned today. Okay? Gratitude is not a weapon. Do I need to repeat myself? I hate doing that, but I will. Gratitude is not a weapon. Fairness is not entitlement. And partnership is not performance art. If you are doing your share in a household, you deserve acknowledgement. And if you're receiving help when you are down bad, you owe humility. Both can exist at the same time, okay? What doesn't work is keeping score, grabbing the best pieces without discussion, slapping somebody's kids, or demanding applause for basic adult responsibilities. That's not gratitude, y'all. That's ego. And ego is expensive. If there's one B rule you take with you today, it's this. Speak up early, set boundaries clearly, and do not let resentment grow roots, okay? Because look, you were trying to be the bigger person, and that's a beautiful thing. The bigger person still has a spine, though. So if today's stories hit close to home, drop your verdict in the comments. Honey or stinger, y'all. It's the B world. Were they wrong? Were they right? Or was everybody just a little messy? And if you got something out of this, look, it's just a breakdown. You already know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and keep the hive buzzing because, you know what? We are building something strong. Not silent. Until next time, though, remember what you do in this house, in that marriage, in that family, it all comes back around. And if you don't believe me, well, you know what? Stick around. You'll see. I love you guys, and I'll buzz you later.
I want to take a minute to shout out Tuber Chat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, yet says, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches, building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why. If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out Tuber Chat. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way. We're live every day at 3 p.m. Central now. And don't worry, we didn't change the heat, just the clock. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
Boss be rising, BBTV.